Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Klinger2. In today's video, I'm just going to be putting all the Pokemon that have been released up to this date in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet onto a tier list. It's not going to be really anything super, critical. It's not going to be, competitive, not even really casual. I'm just kind of going to go over, maybe what I think of, the designs, what's been released so far as information goes on the Pokemon. What I think would be a fun Pokemon to use in the playthrough maybe, or something along those lines. And then I'll also be using the website here to kind of give a cross-reference. It has all the Pokemon that have been released and shown up to this day. And if you click on them, you can see it even shows you their abilities, shows you more information about them. And if they have any special attacks or something like that, it does show it on their profile. So if you want to go check that out, that's also really cool. That's just on the Pokemon website for Scarlet and Violet. But, yeah, I'm making this because I think the other tier list videos have done good, and let's keep it going, I guess. So, first off, we got the, almost the sweet puppy, the sweets, looks kind of like a sweet roll. So, yeah, let's just go down here real quick. Fidough, yeah, I don't really know most of their names at this point, I'll be honest. So, yeah, it has own tempo. Overall, I mean, this Pokemon really, as far as competitive, is going to be not useful unless you're playing maybe a Little Cup. I think it looks cute-ish. To be honest, this is one of my least favorite out of all the designs, to be honest here. I do think it's cool that they have them designed like this, on the counter. In the overworld, when you go into these shops and stuff, you might see some of these Pokemon just kind of laying on the counter, along with other Pokemon as well. I mean, this is what it looks like, just, maybe following you around. It does look really cool. As far as, the design goes, I know what they're going for. I just don't really like the design, for me, personally. So, I mean, I'm going to probably put this at about C. Like I said, this is my opinions on this. If you want to make your tier list, go right ahead. This is what I'm going to put mine at, so let's go with the C, and this won't be perfect because I'm using Photoshop. I didn't want to use the tier maker because a lot of times it's ad infested, and I just don't really have the know-how. It kind of irritates me on how you're supposed to do it otherwise. Just crop the screen, and I wanted to go back and forth between this and the tier list, so it just wouldn't work that way. So up next we got the whale. The land whale. It's actually an ice type, and this is one of my more favorite Pokemon I've seen. This is one of the first ones that were actually revealed. So Cetitan, I guess. It has Thick Fat and Slush Rush. So yeah, I mean, I think Thick Fat's just going to be a good ability. It's nice to see an ice type that can actually tank some hits, which it's probably going to be more of a defensive Pokemon. Being a full ice type Pokemon, though, I don't really know if it'll be that great, but I want to see it be good because I think the design's really cool. When I saw this design, it was really an eye opener that they were going for maybe something else besides the average Pokemon design, like a Pikachu or something. This is really complex. You see, it has the circles as the lines. It has multiple horns coming off of it, and each of the horns have shadows. As far as a design goes, I think this is a very more complex design, which I think is pretty cool if they go this direction. And it's not super overt design, though. It's also the thing. I think overall, for me, this is a hit. I think this is a good Pokemon. I would like to see it on my team, at least going through the playthrough. Judging by these are earlier released Pokemon that we see, there's probably a good possibility you could find this early game. Now, I have no idea, but I'm just saying that it could be there. I'm going to put it in A tier because I do think there's better Pokemon than it. But overall, it's a pretty good Pokemon for me. I think it's cool. Alright, so next up we got Sprigatito. If I'm pronouncing these wrong, I'm sorry. Yeah, so Sprigatito, I guess is what you would call it. Has Overgrow, pretty standard starter grass Pokemon ability. I'm not going to lie here. I think if you like cats, this is a good option here. For me, I'm not really I like cats, but it's not really my cup of tea, at least for the first evolution. Maybe the last evolution looks really cool, but for me, I don't really care for it as much. But as far as grass starters go, I think it's definitely one of the better looking ones, put it that way. So yeah, I'm going to have to put this one probably at about a... It'd be like B or C, honestly. This would be like borderline between a C and B. But I'll put it in B to give it the benefit of the doubt. I don't think it's horrible. I really don't. It's just not like... I don't think it's C worthy, let's put it that way. Next up, we got the Crocodile. And the Crocodile, I think, out of all of them, is probably... It kind of looks like a Mario character, a little bit. There is, like, some crocodiles in Mario that kind of look like this. Or dragons. There's also, like, in Super Mario World, there's, like, these dragon things you ride on in the lava that sort of look like the head on this. I think this honestly has, like, the most potential to be a really cool final evolution. And I did not look at the starter leaks. I think they're out now, so I didn't look at them. But I do think this will be a very cool final evolution. And overall, I think this is a very out there type thing. I mean, its ability Blaze is not really going to be anything useful. So, yeah, no competitive stuff here, basically. So, like I said, most of these are just going to be little cup only. But, yeah, overall, I mean, I think this is a really cool Pokemon. I'll give this one a pretty high ranking. I'd probably choose this one, to be honest. I'd give it an A, because I might be an S tier later, depending on what its final evolution is and stuff like that. But as far as its design now, I think it's about an A. I don't think it's like the best design Pokemon as far as starters go ever, but I don't think it's bad. Quaxly, I like Quaxly better than Sprigatito. I will say though that it's not like a lot better though. It's probably like it's just above it. Like it is a true like B tier for me. Not borderline C tier. It's like an actual B tier Pokemon for sure for me. So yeah, I do think Quaxly, although it is pretty simple in design, I do think the sailor type outfit for it's like going to be kind of funny, depending on how far it goes with it and its like final evolutions. And Torrents is another default starter ability, so nothing too crazy there. So yeah, overall, I'm just gonna put this in B tier. It would go above Sprigatito if this was like able to be moved a little bit easier. So next we got the other dog Pokemon. I don't know if it's a dog or not. I don't think it is, but it looks like a dog still. Pawmi? Yeah. So we got Static and Natural Cure. Now, the fact that this thing has two abilities kind of is weird to me. The only reason why it's weird to me is because of it already being a first evolution. So with that said, I would expect this to have only two evolutions. Like it would have its base form and then its other one. So I guess it only have one evolution. So technically, I would assume this has one evolution. It's a mouse Pokemon. So I guess this is the Pikachu clone in this game. Doesn't really look like a mouse to me. It kind of looks more like a mix between like a panda and a dog. I mean, if they want to go with a mouse, sure. It just doesn't really come across that way to me. Static is pretty good, and Natural Cure, I guess, could be good as well. I mean, overall, I think for the design-wise, it's not hitting hard for me right now. I'm going to be completely honest. It's not really sending anything crazy home. And it's not bad. Just nothing too crazy here, to be honest. I'm going to put this one in C tier. So, yeah, this one's going into C tier here. Next up we got, the next one looks like a Digimon in my opinion. This like plant thing, it looks like a Digimon. Now I would expect this one to be a, two more evolution stages after this. It has Early Bird, and it's a grass normal type, which is very strange. I don't really think that really affects anything outside of the fact that it gets maybe a stab normal move. It's an olive, which is cool. I mean, you can see the olive there. So I'm very interested to see what they do with this. I'm going to be completely honest, because this is just a very strange looking Pokemon, to say the least. Like I said, the mouth is what reminds me of a Digimon. Everything else reminds me of kind of like a Pokemon. But there are Digimon that are like the very base stage Digimons that are very simplistic in design, and that's what this really reminds me of. So yeah, it kind of reminds me of a Digimon in that sense. I think as far as the design goes, it's really simple. I mean, I know Pokemon strives for simplicity here, but this is I mean, we're striving really simple here. I'm going to have to give this one like a... I mean, realistically, if we're going to be real here, I give it a D. I do think because I like the fact that they're really trying to do other things as far as like designs go and stuff like that. It's not like a bad design. I mean, I think just because of the fact they're really trying something alone, it would go in a B tier for me personally. I just also have another side of me that really believes that this Pokemon is like a D tier. Just because of it's so simple that like nothing stands out on it, and it's almost like a... I guess that might be like an appealing factor to it. It kind of reminds me of like a Sunkern, but Sunkern has like more... It has like different colors to it, and it kind of you understand why it looks the way it does. And I also think Sunkern's eyes are like a lot more like better to look at than that too. Like see, like Sunkern like actually looks very happy, and it has these like these brown things and the stuff underneath its mouth, and then it has like the plant thing. I mean, overall, it's just it just looks really I guess cute. I guess it's a very appealing Pokemon to look at in comparison to this that it's kind of this doesn't really look like much. I mean, I'm completely honest. Lechonk. Now, this is how you do, in my opinion, simplicity right. So, it's a pig. You don't need to go much more than just being a round circle, right? And it does that. It's a round circle, so you understand it's like round, kind of fat like. Its snout is very, very, it's like kind of like the main attraction here outside of its round body is its snout. And so you can just tell immediately it's a pig. Just because you just know that snouts are like this or like for pigs. And then you got the ears. You even got like a curly tail, which is also unique to pigs. Not really unique to them, but definitely helps out them in that sense. It's got Aroma Veil and Gluttony. And I don't really know what Aroma Veil does, but Gluttony is pretty good. Overall, I like Lechonk's design. I'm going to give this one like probably an S tier, I'm going to be honest here. I think this is simplicity done the exact way you're supposed to have this done. And normally Pokemon gets this really, really right on. Normally it happens a lot. I think the only exception here is this. I think it's actually too simplistic to be really good. Now, we got the legendaries up next. So we got the red legendary, and then we got the future dragon one, I guess. So this is the past. I guess what they're trying to go for here, Koraidon, is this reminds me a little bit of like Indian or Native Americans and their headdresses and from the U.S. That's kind of reminds me here. Even back here. So I think that's kind of what they were going for, that to resemble like maybe like the past. That's at least what I gather from it. As far as anything else goes, there's really no ability that's been shown yet. There's no unique attacks outside of its first stage evolution, or what I would assume would be its first stage evolution. We'll get to that in a second. Overall, I do think this is a fun Pokemon for sure. I think its design is really cool. Its concept is also really cool, which those two go kind of hand in hand when you're designing something. So I think for that, and I also don't think it's a pretty like lackluster legendary either. If I'm being completely honest here, it's pretty cool looking. I'm gonna give this one, in comparison to my favorite legendaries, it really doesn't stack up. I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm gonna go with A. I'm feeling S just because they're legendaries, but I don't really feel like that's really what I'm thinking here. And I'm going to take a break. I'll be back. Hello everyone, I'm back. So let's start off with the Violet legendary here. And overall, I don't think it's a bad design at all. I actually think that it's very futuristic as what they're going for here. I'm pretty sure it's confirmed now that Violet's supposed to be the more futuristic version, as Scarlet's supposed to be the more past version, which is pretty cool. But that said, I do think this is a really cool design. I think this was a little bit weird, but I think the rest of its design is pretty cool, honestly. Overall, from its design standpoint, it looks really cool. We don't have anything else to go off of here for stats or anything. So yeah, I don't even think we have a typing, it looks like. I would assume it's Psychic, maybe Psychic Electric. I would assume Koraidon is a fighting dragon, maybe. I don't. So this is either psychic dragon, psychic electric, or electric dragon, and then this is probably going to be a psychic dragon. It's really about the only thing I could see there, or a fighting dragon. That's about the only thing I could see there, possibly. But yeah, Miraidon seems pretty cool, as most box art legendaries should. Design-wise, it fits the build. I mean, it's pretty good. Like I said, we don't have any much more information besides its design and maybe a little bit of what it's known for, being that it's a futuristic Pokemon or looking forward to the future. So with that said, I think I'm gonna put this one. I like its design more than Koraidon's, but I don't think it is deserving of an S, to be honest. I think there's better legendaries in my book, at least. And so we're going to go to an A tier. It's not a bad design by any means. It's just not like... It's not up to like Giratina or like something like that standard, or like Darkrai, in my opinion, for like concept as well as execution. So next up we got Wooper. I mean, if you're a fan of Wooper, I think it's a good design, for sure. For me personally, I get really annoyed with Wooper and I get really annoyed with Quaxly. Poison Ground is a little bit more easier to deal with since now it's weak to Psychic instead of just being weak to Grass, pretty much. So, yeah. I mean, it also has Water Absorb still, which is pretty good. It doesn't have, like, Unaware. At least this version. Maybe Quagsire does. I do think this Wooper is going to be a lot more easier to deal with, but still going to be pretty tanky as far as the Pokemon competitive scene goes, as Quagsire is still now, since it still has a ground typing. Also has Poison, which will easily have Toxic for sure. And now it can even get Stab off Poison to basically get the fairies to be killed. So, I mean, yeah, overall, I think this is going to be a really good Pokemon as far as competitive goes. As far as design goes, I mean, I can't lie. It's a cute design. I just don't really like Quagsire because it's really don't want to deal with. But overall, it's a very cute design. I'd probably have to go with a... To be honest, if we're incorporating everything here, we're probably going to go with an S tier on Wooper. Wooper is probably going to go to an S tier here. Sorry about the uncut lines. Like the little hangy doos. Maybe you didn't even notice that until I pointed it out. Sorry if that was the case. But next up we got what I would assume to be the first evolution of the Koraidon or Miraidon, if I remember those names correctly. Basically the box arts, legendaries. So this dude, this is where the attacks are going to come into play, because this guy has a unique attack, and I would assume the fully evolved legendaries, or what I would assume they evolve into, will have them as well. So first off, let's just see what it is. So it's a dragon normal type. Okay, so most likely Miraidon and Koraidon are going to be dragon types. So dragon fighting or dragon psychic electric is what I would assume on Miraidon. And its toes are kind of funky. I've never seen that, but that's besides the point. Yeah, so Cyclizar or Cyclizar, I guess, is like lizard cycle, I guess. So it's the dragon normal, and it has shed skin. Shed skin is really nice. You can just switch out, and it gets rid of a status, basically, condition. So that's really cool. Now, the cooler part about this Pokemon is its move Shed Tail. The user creates a substitute for itself using its own HP before switching places with the party Pokemon awaiting. This is a very, very good move. Absolutely good. I don't know if it will be like meta breaking or anything like that, because I just don't know if this is going to be the only Pokemon that has it, or if it's going to be shared with other Pokemon. You're getting a substitute. You're getting a free Swamp Out. It's a U-turn, but instead of doing damage, you're being a defensive Swamp Out, which is just very good. So basically, if you predict someone's going to use Shell Smash, for instance, this is a kind of a good example here. Cloyster just got on the field. You predict they're going to use Shell Smash. They use Shell Smash. You just got a free Swamp Out, and now you can use your own, like maybe Agility, or you can use something along those lines. Or Sword Stance, or anything along those lines. Maybe you even have a, terrestrialization that you can just one-shot them with, basically. It's a very versatile move. Overall, extremely good. I think this move is going to be, like I said, I don't know if it's going to be meta-breaking, but it's going to be a very, very, very good move. And if it's on multiple Pokemon, I can only imagine how much versatility this will be. I mean, even if it's on like 4 Pokemon and 2 of them are good, that's still a really good move. So, overall, I think literally just because it has this ability, or this attack, I should say, absolutely good. This Pokemon has to go in the S tier, in my opinion. And its design is, design's like a B, honestly. Its design isn't nothing too crazy here. I think for its attack, though, this has to be going into S tier, though. And this is probably one of the few times I'll actually talk about a move that would put a Pokemon at S tier, just because, in my opinion, just because of its attack. I like how this is kind of like besides the point, but it's kind of ironic that it's going up against a Cloyster here, because Cloyster has Skill Link, and the thing is, it's just going to skill link all the way through this substitute. As soon as Shell Smashes, it's just going to skill link through this. So it's actually funny to me. It's like probably the worst match you could possibly do with this. But besides the point. Yeah, we're going to put Cyclizar into S tier. Not for its design, but for its versatility and what I would assume would be transferred to the main legendaries, but I don't know. So I don't know. I don't know if they would move up to S tier, to be honest. Even with that, I went off their designs, but I went off an attack for him. So I guess maybe it's kind of a mix up there. But this is my tier list, so make your own if you don't like it. So, yeah, we got the Poison Monkey here, and I think this design is just absolutely crazy looking. It's very unique for a Pokemon design. I mean, I don't think I've seen anything that has been this colorful and meaningly colorful in, like, a Pokemon before. And I think what really sells this Pokemon, now I'm looking at it, is its eyes. It almost has, like, a gradient right here, or it might just have a very smudged out eye. Like, if you're in Photoshop and you're smudging out, it might have a smudged out texture here, which is different from this type of shade. Normally Pokemon likes to cut it pretty tight on their corners, on their edges. They like to cut their shadowing pretty close, but this one's very diffused, so it looks like it's actually like going into like the lighter color down here. And the reflection on its eyes make it look very cool, but really what sells it is the purple around his eyes. That is what really sells this Pokemon. And I think overall this is a very good, unique design Pokemon. It's also, I think, the first Poison Normal type, if I'm not mistaken. It has Poison Touch and Unburden. And really, for competitive sake, this Pokemon's probably not going to be that great. I'm going to be completely honest. Most likely, as in, I don't really know for sure, but it does not seem like it'll be that great. Grafaiai? I don't know, man. These Pokemon names are kind of harder to pronounce than like Gen 7s. Yeah. This Pokemon, I think for its design, I have to give this thing like an A tier. Really. I think its design is just extremely good. Now I don't know, it is kind of out there, in my opinion. Like, it's a monkey because you can just look at it. I'm kind of like in between like a B to A tier. Really, this would be like somewhere around like here. Be like kind of B to A tier. My gut's telling me to go with B. I don't know why, but I do like the design though. I just don't think there's like, I think the reason why I feel this way is because there's not a whole lot to push it above the B tier. Outside of the fact I really like his design. The competitive scene probably won't use this dude at all. And when I say his design, I really like his eyes. I think his eyes are what are really cool. It's really cool that they actually like made almost like a gradient like eye for once. Everything else is really cool. I like his hands, but the rest of the body kind of. I don't know. It's a B tier. We're moving on. So we're gonna be here all day. Next up, we got the new crab. It's like Klawf or something. Klawf. Okay. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there is a... Is this the first evolution? Or is there just a bigger version of this? I think there's a bigger version. Now, this Pokemon, being a rock type, is just innately not going to be the greatest at typing, to be honest. Now, for using abilities offensive-wise, it's a very good typing. Defensively, it's not that great for competitive most of the time. So basically, and it's probably a starter-ish region Pokemon. So I think for maybe like a lower tier like Yu or something, this Pokemon would be pretty good in, honestly. Because I'm pretty sure I got a new ability here, which is Anger Shell. And Klawf's Anger Shell ability is making its first appearance in the Pokemon series. So it is a new ability. And it's pretty nuts. When Klawf's HP drops to half or less, the Pokemon gets angry. This lowers its defense and special defense stats, but boosts its attack and special attack and speed stats. Now, that's pretty big. That is very, very good. Very, very good. Shell Armor is good, but this Anchor Shell ability is very, very good. I don't know if this is going to be on any other Pokemon, to be honest. But as of now, this is a nice ability. Very good. So, with that said, do I think this is going to be a great Pokemon? I really don't believe so. Because although this is a lot of stat buffs, it lowers its defense. So you can just like, do a Shadow Sneak, or you can do a Bullet Punch, Mach Punch, two literally moves I just listed are super effective against this guy. Extreme Speed with anything that has a Sword Stance is going to basically knock this dude out. So, yeah, it's a good ability, but it's not going to be like ground shattering. If this is on any other Pokemon besides this, I could see this being a good ability for that Pokemon, but this Pokemon just doesn't really cut it there. As far as its design goes, again, they're like kind of hitting out of the ballpark with this. They're kind of stepping up their design game. I really like the design. They have like the little like thing here. So on crabs in real life, they have like the little flipper underneath, and that's where they store their eggs. So that's really cool. They incorporated it here, to be honest. Its mouth is very unique. It's very like rock-like, and that's what they're going for here. It's like, what does this dude eat? Probably eats rocks. So he's gonna have like a very smashing type mouth. As you know, in nature, the pointy teeth, they are carnivores, so they rip meat. But the flatter teeth eat they're herbivores, right? So they eat the plants. So they can smash it down easier. We tend to have both since we have molars and canines. But this guy's going to be eating rocks all day, so he has to have very strong beak-like stuff, That's really cool, in my opinion. That they did that. I like the eyes. The eyes come out of the little sockets. It's really cool. It's not like I think some crabs do that, which they pretty much do. But, like, normally when you draw crabs, you don't draw them like this. So it was really cool they did that. I like its pinchers. Little kind of just fluff here, I guess. Is not really like they just had to put something here because it probably looked very plain without adding this stuff on it. But overall, very cool. I like the design of this Pokemon a lot. Like, most of these designs I really do like. As far as competitive stuff goes, there's probably going to draw the line on some of these. I think this Pokemon's not going to be as good. I might be completely mistaken. We don't have any stat totals here, right? So, might be mistaken here. Really, this would be like a B tier. It could go in A tier. I just don't have enough information on its stats to really warrant an A tier, though. If this is like a really defensive, bulky Pokemon, I could see this going into a pretty niche, good category for maybe competitive. Not for sure, though. Okay, so next up we got Mega Man, which his real name is going to be Armarouge? Like armor and then rogue? Okay, so he's a fire psychic type. It's already a pretty good type. You can be hit by quite a bit, but it is what it is. You got flash fire, so you're powering up those fire moves. its design is really cool. Like I said, this seems like it's heavily based off Mega Man. Not necessarily in this picture, but in this picture, when he has his cannon out, it's basically his Mega Man. It's pretty cool. I tend to not really enjoy the little circles. That's just my take on some of these. Honestly, the circles kind of throw me off, but I do like this chest piece. Overall, the design is pretty good. Let's put it that way. But next up, we got his signature attack here. Armor Cannon. Armor Cannon is a fire type special move in which Armarouge moves both its Palindromes to its hands and puts its arms together to form a cannon, allowing it to shoot its own armor out as blazing projectiles. That's pretty sick, honestly. He's just like over here, like throwing his armor at people through his like blaster. That's cool. This is one of the most powerful moves that Armarouge can learn, but it lowers Armarouge's defense and special defense stats in exchange for that power. So it's like close combat, but for fire. And it's special attack, so that's very, very cool. Which is kind of weird. I mean, it's not really weird, but it's weird in the sense that it's a fire type Pokemon doing it. Most of the time fire types are like going to be physical. Exceptions like this are definitely in the game, and like Delphox and stuff. Delphox actually has the same typing, if I'm not mistaken. I think this move is probably going to be about a 120 base stat. I would assume 100, 120, anywhere in that ballpark, since it's going to be like a signature move, it sounds like here. I don't think anything else is going to have the Armor Cannon move. I don't think it's going to be meta breaking or anything like that, just because this type is just very It's good, but it's like you have to be like cracked to have a type like this. If you're a fire type, you immediately just have to be really, really good, because there's a lot of rock moves and competitive, and that's probably never going to change. So yeah, overall, this Pokemon probably, I would assume he has a decent amount of defense just because his name's Armarouge. Armarouge. His attack stats probably going to be pretty nutty too. So I would assume he has a pretty high defense and then a pretty high special attack. Now, with that said, do I think he's going to be that great? Like I said, debatable. I feel like OU, maybe. Maybe the tier below OU. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But overall, his design is pretty cool. I think he's going to be an alright Pokemon. So I'm probably going to put this dude in A tier. Now, the next Pokemon is really cool, and I actually think this Pokemon is, because I looked at most of these already, and I think his counterpart in Violet's going to be better than he is by pretty much a long shot. From his ability, from his move, I mean. So, here we got Ceruledge. I don't really know what the first half of the name's going to be. Now, that last part's going to be Edge, obviously. Or Ceruledge. So we got Flash Fire. Basically the same thing, power up fire moves. It's a fire ghost Pokemon though this time, so that's pretty neat. Now this is a physical attacker. The other, Armarouge's gonna be special, and then this one's gonna be a physical. So this Pokemon's new move is gonna be Bitter Blade, and Bitter Blade is a fire type physical move that gathers the lingering effect of the fallen into Ceruledge's swords. Dude, I'm so sorry. I'm butchering this name so bad. Allowing it to focus that bitterness into a slashing attack. The swords then absorb life energy from wounds they made, and the user's HP is restored by up to half the damage taken by the target. You got a lifesteal ability on a fire type physical move. I mean, that's good. And on top of that, this Pokemon probably has a really high attack stat, and from a slender design, like I said, the other one has more circles, like Armarouge. This one's more cylindrical and very pointed. So I would assume this Pokemon's going to be a lot faster. Well, that being said, a Pokemon that can lifesteal, be fast, it's probably going to have Life Orb. This is going to be a very good Pokemon in my predictions here. I could easily see it being an OU, honestly. This might break into Ubers. That's my bold prediction. It may break into Ubers. I don't know what stats yet, but that is a very, very good. If it is fast, which it looks like it will be, Bitter Blade is a super good move. That can hit fire types. I can hit steel types. I mean, that can hit ice types, grass types. I mean, you're talking some pretty good damage here, and the fact that you have a physical base ghost Pokemon as well is very unique in the sense that there's probably not that many around, if I'm not mistaken. You know, you can use like Poltergeist or something like that. It's just, yeah, this Pokemon's gonna be kind of nuts. So I would predict this Pokemon with one Swords Dance is just gonna be able to start sweeping stuff. I mean, you're talking about at some point it will be unkillable if it's fast enough. That is what I'm saying, because it's just gonna regenerate its health unless if you just one shot it. It's really not that many moves in the game that regenerate your health, let alone fire moves. So I mean, you're talking like a lot of potential here. This Pokemon, probably out of all these Pokemon so far, this is the only one I can say that probably has a very good shot at being one of the better Pokemons in the game. Without a doubt, I put this thing in S tier. Ceruledge is going into the S tier for sure. And frankly, this would be the best Pokemon I think in this entire game so far that has been revealed with the information we have been given. That's just my opinion. So next up, I think this is Wiglett. If I'm not mistaken, that's his name. Yeah, it's Wiglett. And you got the Garden Eel Pokemon. Now, these are actually like real-life animals, and they have a Monster Hunter too. They kind of just pop up, but they're blue in that game. It's kind of funny. So you got Gooey and Rattled as its abilities. I don't even know what Rattled does, to be honest. What does this do? Some move types scare it and boost its speed stat. Huh. That's kind of cool. I mean, can't really go wrong with that. And Gooey, what does Gooey do? Contact with the Pokemon lowers the attacker's speed stat. Okay, so this Pokemon's all about speed. Okay. I can get down with that. That's pretty cool. So it's a water type. So now we got normal Diglett, which is a ground type. We got Galarian Diglett, which is a ground steel type. Now we got Wiglett, which is a water type. Now I don't know if there's going to be other Diglets in the game. I think they may have showed some other ones, but I don't know. But overall, I think this Pokemon, water type, is a good type. Straight up, it's a very good tanky type, which is normally how Diglett's played. He doesn't really do normally a lot of damage. Now, there is times where you can use Earthquake and be like, you can make him a damaging Pokemon, but like Tangled Hair and stuff like that with Galarian Diglett and Dugtrio is pretty good. So overall, I do think this Pokemon has a lot of potential here. It might be more of a stalling Pokemon this time around. Maybe its like main role is just stalling, which is pretty cool. But really, off of what we have here is basically his design, and I think his design is just—it's very simplistic. It's you know, it's cute. I kind of wish they made a different Pokemon, but it is what it is. Because I'm not trying to be like the guy here, but I do get kind of annoyed that they only like favor Gen 1 with these like Pokemon remakes, and the fact like Dugtrio has like literally Diglett and Dugtrio have at this point 2 other forms, and most Pokemon literally don't have anything. So overall, its design's pretty cool, but you can't really go wrong with this. There's not enough information really on it to really dictate any competitive sense at all. So overall, I think this is just going to be honestly, I kind of want to put it in C tier, but I think it's cute enough to go in B tier. Its design is just not, dude, I don't even know, man. I kind of feel like it's C tier. I might, it'd be like right here. This Pokemon is like literally like in the middle. It's not anything crazy, but it's not anything bad. Okay, so now we got Girafarig Evolution. And for Farigiraf. That almost sounds like a bad word. I don't really know why they named it that, but a lot of these Pokemon names are really hard to say. I'm not even gonna lie. Okay, so we got normal Psychic. I think that's just Girafarig's normal type. It's pretty cool looking. It looks like a Chain Chomp from Mario. Its head, when it closes, definitely looks like a Chain Chomp. I don't know if that's what they're going for, but it does look like one. I think it is cool that they finally went with the whole idea of the Girafarig concept. I'm pretty sure it was actually supposed to be something along these lines when it came out, which is pretty cool. And yeah, this Pokemon is definitely a giraffe. I mean, it just is what it is. It has Cudshoe and Armortail as its abilities, and Cudshoe is a new. So is Armortail. Cudshoe is a very cool ability. So Farigiraf's ability, Cudshoe, is a new ability appearing for the first time in these titles. When a Pokemon uses this ability, eats a berry, it will eat it one more time at the end of the next turn. Now, that's pretty big. That is very big. Now, I don't know how this works with a recycle. And that's really the big question here. This Pokemon has recycled. This Pokemon may be unkillable for the most part, unless if you have a Pokemon that can super effect it. Which shouldn't be that hard, because Psychic is weak to a lot of stuff at this point. It's weak to Dark Ghost. And I think there's one more weakness it has, but those two types are very common right now in Pokemon. But it is also normal type, so it might just be weak to Dark. Pretty cool. And Psychic makes fighting type moves be not very effective, and normal type makes him immune to Ghost. So I mean, this Pokemon could be in my opinion at this point now looking at it, this Pokemon could be an actual huge stall wall. Now, the reason why this is big is because if you use a recycle with the citrus berry, you regenerate your health over and over again. Very cool. I think that's going to be for competitive scenes. This is going to be probably its main gimmick if it has recycle. Even if it doesn't have recycle, using a citrus berry and getting 2 uses out of it without having to use recycle as a turn is insane. You're getting a free, basically 2 turns free milk drink, or the equivalency of recover, and you can attack and do stuff. That's crazy. That's super good. Okay, so next up we got Armortail. Farigiraf's ability, Armortail, is another new ability appearing for the first time in titles. It makes the opposing Pokemon unable to use priority moves. This is another great move. Great ability. This Pokemon, honestly, for its versatility, is quite insane. They may have stuck both these abilities on the same Pokemon to limit the usage of these abilities. And I might be actually correct on that, and the only reason I say it is because Armortail and Cudshoe are probably they're really good. They're really good. You got Armortail, which allows you not to set up psychic terrain. You can swamp in for free, so you can just bait this out. Someone uses Fake Out. They switch into a Center War. They use Fake Out. You throw a Farigiraf, nullify it. Now you're off the races. Now you're back at ground zero. This Pokemon is probably going to be slow. It doesn't matter, honestly. Its abilities are insane. These abilities paired with an item are freaking nuts. On top of that, you got Terastallization, so you can literally just swamp types whenever you need to. I mean, man, the fact that it's a normal Psychic meaning that it's already immune to Ghost. You're going to be not very effective against fighting. The super effectives here are going to be quite little. I mean, we're talking very big potential here. And the reason I say it is because if it can cover its other weaknesses with terrestrialization, you know, it all comes out to really can it do damage. If this thing can do damage, it doesn't look like it, but even if it's a stall Pokemon, it's still going to be a massively good stall Pokemon. I mean, you're talking here, you're just talking straight up to 9 turns. You're talking being a big wall. I mean, dude, you're talking, this Pokemon's going to be kind of nuts, too. I'm not even going to lie. It's pretty ridiculous. So, yeah, we're going with Farigiraf. We're just going to stick this dude in S tier as well. Without further knowledge, I feel like this Pokemon definitely is deserving of the S tier rank currently. It's also an evolution, so it's going to get better stats than Girafarig. There is that too. So that Pokemon could just be absolutely nuts. We have to wait and see its stat distribution though. And next up we got the, I think it's like Bellibolt or something like that. Oh, I was actually correct. Let's go. Big Bellibolt. Okay. Bellibolt is kind of stupid in my opinion. I don't mean to step on anyone's toes. I just find this design to be kind of iffy. I'm just gonna go on one of my more least liked designs, in my opinion. So it does have a new ability though. So let's read this. So we got Bellibolt's ability, Electromorphosis. It's a new ability appearing for the first time in these titles. Bellibolt becomes charged when hit by an attack, boosting the power of the next electric type move it uses. So there is I think it's Charge, and Charge does this, but you have to use it as an attack. See, what's happening with a lot of these abilities, and this is just how power creep works. Okay? This is just straight up just how power creep works. The more you go into in a game like this, the more they have to make things better than the game before. And abilities like this, Electromorphosis, is a good example of this, for sure. And, like, you know, Farigirafs, you know, their abilities are a lot of times moves that you have to use in the game in older generations that are just starting to become abilities now. So you don't have to worry about it. I mean, we're talking about a big potential here. I mean, we're talking about like a, you know, you get maybe 2 charges off this. This is definitely a defensive Pokemon. You know, it depends on how big its defense stat is. If it evolves, it may even get a bigger, you know, stat boost or something like that as far as its defense stat goes. I don't even know if this is a, you know, one and done Pokemon. This might have an evolution. And if its evolution is a extremely big tank, that could be an absolutely monster of a Pokemon. Because what you could do is, it says charge when hit by an attack. That doesn't specify as of currently if that means special or physical. And that doesn't also specify if that means a multi-hit attack, if that does it every single time. Which, you would think that would be patched out by now, but whenever Kangaskhan came out in Gen 6... Mega Kangaskhan, I should say, it used Power Punch and got both those as boosts. So, depending if it's a multi-hit or not, that might even increase it, you know, up to 5 times in one turn. You know, this could be nuts. And the thing is, its physical attack may not be that great, but if it gets that much boost, it could be very good. It could also terrestrialize into something like a fighting type or something like that, and then use moves that are along the lines of really good hitting moves, or maybe even a rock type or something like that. You know, or maybe even a ground type and use Earthquake. So that'd be also pretty cool. Overall, though, the cool thing is it's not like Lightning Bolt. It has to be a certain, you know, it has to be electric. It just says when hit by an attack, so that means anything, and it charges up the next electric type move it uses. Okay, so this is not, I read this wrong. It's not a attack boosting move, but that still stands. I don't know about the multi-hit, but it could just be the next electric type move. And if you terrestrialize into the same type that you already are, you can give it an extra boost, which is pretty cool. I mean, we're talking a lot of damage here. I I just don't know if it has an evolution or not. I'm still going to put it in C tier. I don't like its design. Sorry. There's not enough. There's really not enough for me to push it up. But I do see like the potential here to be pretty good. I just don't know if it has an evolution or not. So I'm going to put this dude in C tier for now. Bellibolt is a C tier. Now, this one came out just a few days ago. This like ghost dog Pokemon. So we got Greavard. Sounds like graveyard. Yeah, let's pick up. This one, you're just going to have to base off its design because this is definitely a first evolution. Really not a whole lot to go off here. It's just straight up ghost. Its design is cute. I think it's definitely a cute looking design. I mean, off its design alone, I'm gonna have to give this dude like an A tier. Let's see. Not like how I just like didn't even explain anything on this. It's just like, I don't know, man. It's just an A tier design, honestly. It's a very good design. So overall, I think the only one in the S tier that I would probably move is probably Lechonk. But I think Lechonk's design is just absolutely just the pinnacle of simplicity as far as Pokemon goes. To be honest, it relays all the information that you need to know that it's a pig off the bat, and it executes on it in a manner that makes it look still like a Pokemon. So it executes it extremely well. Mainly these 4 Pokemon, except maybe Wooper, are basically, in my mind, competitively viable. And their designs, except the Cycle Pokemon, they're kind of like lame, or they're cool. And then basically A tier is a combination of cool designs with some competitive viability. B tier is going to be mainly just, this is kind of like a recap. B tier is like, I don't know, it's like they're cool designs, but they're like kind of maybe not that great as far as typing or something goes along the lines of just competitive sense. And the designs also are, they're cool, but they're just not as cool as like these in my opinion. C tier just has, in my opinion, kind of just not the greatest of designs in my opinion. They could do better in combination with, I just don't see that much competitive viability with them. And really, it's just this guy in D tier. And the only reason I put him down here is because I think his design is just extremely simple. There's really not a whole lot going on here. I mean, it's just not. It really doesn't even look like a Pokemon. I can be totally honest. It doesn't even look like a Pokemon. And I just doubt this Pokemon's going to be even like worth anything and like competitive in its full evolution. I might be mistaken, and I hope I am. I'd like to see it be good. It just doesn't really look that great at this point. It's looking kind of dim on this guy. So, I mean, yeah, maybe if this was in a different area, maybe at a different angle, like they have on Pokemon cards, I'd like this a little bit more. But as of now, not too liking it too much. But overall, thank you guys for watching. This is an extremely long video. If you just skipped to the end to see this, I'm glad you watched it anyway. So yeah, thank you guys for watching it. Hope you like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you would like. And if you want me to make more of these videos, just let me know, and I will do so. So yeah, thank you guys. Have a good day. Bye.